was never meant to survive, let alone belong. Shiki Tohno walks through a life that was never his, in a body scarred by death, beneath a name that mocks him with every breath he takes. He is a living rejection of blood, legacy, and purpose. And somewhere deep inside of him, something that remembers how to kill. For this narrative, we shall be referring to Shiki Tohno as Tohno and Shiki Nanaya as Nanaya. In the past, there was no peace within the Tohno household, only silence. A silence that echoes through the hallways and empty smiles. A child adopted not out of mercy, but mockery. Raised among people who looked at him and saw a walking contradiction. A boy who shares the name as their true heir. A boy whose worth was defined by what he wasn't. This boy stood on death's door numerous times and yet survived. Whether it was surviving the extermination of his clan, or his faithful encounter with the heir of the Tohno family. It is not the trope of a dark side or a hidden killer. This is a narrative built on fracture, of memory, of identity, of selfhood. And to understand it, we must strip back every layer until we see the raw wound where a person should be. It is not madness. It is the truth seen too soon. Peter Schaefer. What Schaefer suggests is terrifying, that what we call insanity might simply be clarity, a glimpse of reality before the mind can cope. Tohno lives with a truth like that. He doesn't know if he's a person or a puppet, if his thoughts are his, or the echoes of someone else's instincts. The tragedy isn't that he snaps, it's that he understands. Because when we talk about alter egos, especially in Type Moon, we are not speaking of fantasy personas. We are speaking of the parts of us that we were never allowed to become. The identities that break free when the soul is too fractured to hold them back. Stay with me until the end, because to understand Shiki Tohno and Shiki Nanaya is to confront the nightmare that we might not be one person at all. That inside each of us, there may be someone else waiting. Someone colder, purer, and far more dangerous. In everyday language, alter ego evokes the image of a hidden self, perhaps a darker twin, a secret personality, or a mask we wear to survive the world. In clerical terms, it speaks of dissociation, identity fragmentation, and trauma. But in the Nasuverse, that phrase takes a far more existential weight. Here, alter egos are not mere metaphors or disguise. They are manifestations of rejection, infernal war, and self-erasure. They are the truth people bury. To understand the complex relationship between Tohno and Nanaya, we must first draw a critical distinction. In Fate, alter characters are corrupted alternate versions, often darker, born from interference or the machinations of the Holy Grail. But Nanaya is not an alter. He is not a corrupt Tohno. He is him, just the version that was never allowed to live. A Type Moon alter, as classified in Fate Grand Order, refers to an existence that houses multiple personalities or fragmented selves. These beings are often unstable, caught between conflicting identities or fused consciousness. Regarding Tohno, it becomes a far more tragic aspect. A boy whose personality was overwritten, whose mind was fragmented due to circumstance, and whose survival required forgetting who he was. Nanaya isn't a mere other. He is the suppressed origin, a self that was buried deep within a boy who suffered through numerous traumatic events. From a psychological standpoint, this resembles a dissociated identity, or complex trauma-based fragmentation. Children raised in violence or isolation often create roles to cope, personalities that carry pain so the conscious self can function. The brain, in a sense, activates a defense mechanism that helps the individual to not remember the pain from trauma. Tohno is a textbook example. The kind boy, the polite student, the safe persona that keeps the Nanaya instincts in check. But the repression can't last forever. Under threat or moments of existential collapse, that hidden identity surges forth as a survival mechanism. So when we speak of Nanaya, we are not conjuring a villain or a corrupted version. We are looking directly at the heart of Tohno, at the part of him that remembers the bloodline, the death, the inescapable truth. And the tragedy is not that Nanaya appears. The tragedy is that he was always there. The Nanaya clan was not merely a normal family. Throughout the generations, they were molded to kill things that should not exist with efficiency, whether it was demons or any other unnatural blight that lurks in the dark. To be born a Nanaya was to be born to slaughter. Their very movements were weapons, their breathing, calculated, their heartbeat, trained to quicken at the scent of blood. They weren't allowed to be human, only tools. But this would change one fateful night. The entire clan would be annihilated by Komakishima in a Tohno family-led raid. The sole survivor, a young boy. That young boy named Shiki Nanaya. He was never meant to be spared. His survival was an act of cruelty disguised as mercy. After the Nanaya clan was exterminated by the Tohno family, he would be taken in by those who murdered his bloodline. Akia's father brought him into the Tohno household not out of kindness, but as mockery. He shared the same name as his own son, Shiki. He would be spared on a whim, a joke carved into flesh. But names are not erasures. Trauma lingers. Even if he lived in comfort, the blood of his lineage didn't leave him. It just merely lay dormant until the time came for it to resurface. A major turning point would happen to him while he lived at the Tohno household. The true heir of the Tohno family, Shiki, was an unstable child due to the demonic blood that flowed through his veins. One day, Shiki attempted to kill his younger sister Akiha, and Tohno took the blow and saved her, but not without a cost. He would be left at death's door, mortally wounded when he received the blow. He was only saved when Akiha bestowed a gift upon him, thus saving his life. This moment is critical because he survived a near-death experience, and because of this he acquired the mystic eyes of death perception, which allowed him to see the death of all things through lines and points that appeared on anything living. These lines would become a never-ending sense of dread for him because they would always remain active. He would always see lines and points in his vision. After surviving these chain of events, he would be hospitalized to recover. While hospitalized, he would meet Aoko Aozaki, who would be a central person in his life going forward. Not normal in the slightest, Aoko would take an unofficial mentor role to him. She would bestow upon him a special pair of glasses that she would tactically acquire from her older sister. While not a direct cure for the mystic eyes of death perception, the glasses would mitigate the lines and points when he wore them, thus helping him with the mental strain they were giving him. And staying true to her mysterious aura, Aoko would disappear, but not without telling him that everything around him is living. If he uses his eyes to cut something, he is effectively killing that specific thing. After he recovered from the hospital, he would be sent to live with the Arima family. This branch family had little to no demonic blood flowing through their veins. He would remain there for an extended period and would adopt the persona that we commonly see him with, the kind and polite boy. But the body remembers. The instincts remain. When he fights, something awakens. Something precise, cold, effortless. After the death of her father, Akiha inherits the burden of the Tohno family, removing everyone from the manor besides herself and her two maids, Isui and Kohaku. She summons Tohno back into the Tohno manor. She does this for many reasons, which includes longing for him, but mostly to keep him under her watchful eye, which he remains throughout each story arc. In the stories of Tsukihime and Melty Blood, Tohno becomes more aware of his true nature. There is no mental shield to hide behind. Each time he feels that desire to kill, he knows it's him. This is the real tragedy. He isn't being controlled. He's fighting his own nature. Tohno's internal battle manifests most clearly in moments when the Nanaya persona breaks through the fragile veneer of his constructed self. One of the most brutal moments of this occurring was the encounter with Arcade Brunstud in Tsukihime. Under immense psychological pressure, Tohno's instincts flare upon seeing Arcade. Thanks to the mystic eyes of depth perception, it allowed him to see the lines and points associated to Arcade's life. But this vision also triggers the dormant Nanaya persona to awaken. At this moment, Nanaya takes over and attempts to kill Arcade. He is successful in dismembering her into numerous pieces. While not outright killing her, he is successful in effectively immobilizing her for a period, which forced her to painfully put herself back together again, thus piquing her interest because someone was able to catch her off guard and physically harm her. Later, Nanaya returns during a critical moment involving Nero Chaos. In a grueling encounter with Nero, Tohno's defeat was all but certain. To effectively kill Nero, all his beasts must be destroyed. When Tohno faces imminent defeat, Nanaya takes control of him. Nanaya, with lethal precision and relative ease, destroys all Nero's beasts and kills him. Melty Blood deepens this duality by giving Nanaya a more tangible presence through the Tatsuri Nanaya form, a physical manifestation born from a rumor of a killer roaming the streets. Tatsuri Nanaya is unique. He's not merely a split personality or a psychological state, but an independent entity. Importantly, Tatsuri Nanaya's destruction or defeat doesn't eradicate the dormant Nanaya within Tohno. Instead, it represents a temporary externalization of that repressed identity, a way for the internal conflict to manifest visibly but not permanently. He can interact with other characters on his own terms. He is walking the world as a separate entity with his own agency. Notable interactions with other characters, which include Tohno. While Tohno and Nanaya don't interact with each other via story mode, they do share win quotes with each other. Kishima Koma. Nanaya holds interest and resentments towards Koma. More so, he wants to fight and kill him, loosely for the destruction of his clan, but more so out of personal interest. Koma is seen as both an enemy for Tohno and Nanaya, but more so Nanaya.
ようやくだ。ようやく出会えたな。紅石種。この瞬間に勝る快楽は存在しない。 この日を待ち続けたよな、お互いさ。
確かに望んでいなかったと言えば嘘になる。いいだろう。来るがいい。殺人鬼。
ああ、脳髄が溶けちまうほど殺し合おうぜ。
V. Akia. While Akia views Tohno as her brother, she doesn't share the same opinion for Nanaya. She will refer to him as Shiki and not as Nissan, even though Nanaya is technically Tohno in a sense. In her vermilion form, Akia is more bloodlust and is somewhat deranged. While in this form, she outright states that she will kill him, and it would satisfy her to do so, to which Nanaya gleefully approves of her doing so.
奇遇だね、アキハ。こんなところで出会えるなんて。今夜はついてるって言えるかな。
ええ、間違いなく幸運よ、シキ。他の人たちでは物足りなかったでしょ。私なら確実にあなたを殺して満足させてあげられるわ。
ああ、いい答えだ、アキハ。お前のように話がわかるやつが妹だなんて、やつが本当に羨ましい。やっぱり兄弟っていうのはこういう関係じゃないと嘘だ。
それは互いに隠し事をしないということかしら。
もちろん。それともう一つ、何をするにも遠慮はしないっていうことかな。
Tohno was never whole. He walks through life like a shadow wearing skin, quiet, polite, restrained. But beneath that restraint lies something pure, precise, and lethal. Nanaya isn't a separate being. He isn't an invader. He's what remains when everything else was stripped away. There's no catharsis in this story, no redemption, no awakening of peace, only the slow recognition that survival has a price. And for Tohno, it was his identity. He didn't lose himself. He was overwritten, replaced, molded into something acceptable. But the blood remembers, the bones still react, and the killer never left. The most terrifying moments are the ones that live inside us. Edgar Allan Poe. What Poe understood, what Type Moon forces us to confront, is that horror isn't always external. The true terror comes from within. It is not the thing that hunts us in the dark, it's the realization that we could become it, that we are already it, buried beneath the layers of denial, expectation, and repression. Nanaya is not fiction. He is a reflection of what Tohno was never allowed to be. And so, the tragedy of Shiki Tohno isn't what he becomes, it's the knowledge that he never had a choice. Because in the end, if survival means becoming something else, then who is it that dies?